Hey guys, Nick here. Thanks for stopping by. I wanted to tell you guys about my diagnosis story and how I came to find out that I had end-stage liver disease with decompensated liver and cirrhosis. In early November of 2021, I woke up just like any other regular morning but this morning was very, very different. I had no idea where I was. And when I say that, I knew that I was home. Everything was pretty normal, but it was all distorted. I couldn't really distinguish. I knew that I was home, but nothing seemed right. Nothing smelled right. And I was just very, very, very confused. Carrie, my better half, had heard me kind of, rustling around upstairs, and I had actually woken her up. This was probably around 4 o'clock in the morning, and she said I was speaking in ways that just didn't make any sense, and I didn't really know what was going on. I felt normal. I didn't feel bad. I was just really confused. And rather quickly, I lost the ability to stand. My legs would shake. I couldn't hold anything. Now, it's important to point out that before this, I had been a very heavy alcohol user for well over 20 years. I had become completely dependent on it. I am to this day and will always be an alcoholic. And what ended up happening was I had been going so hard for so long, never missing work, doing well at work and all of that. Eventually my body had just had enough. And in that first week of November, I went into renal failure. My kidneys were beginning to shut down. My liver had essentially stopped working. I was bloated, yellow, very, very, very confused and disoriented. So they finally convinced me to go to the hospital. Once I was checked into the hospital, this was also peak COVID time. So being able to not only get in, but to be able to have someone look at someone in my condition was actually very challenging. During one of my hospital stays, I actually spent several days in the hallway because there was just no place to put anyone. So as I was going through this, obviously Carrie was scared and confused. I was confused. And it got to the point to where I just lost the ability to maintain any of my bodily functions, sight, taste, bowels, everything. My body had just had enough. So I was in the hospital, and it's also important to say that most of this is what have been told to me by my physicians and by my partner. I don't recall any of this. The crazy thing is that I can tell you very clearly what happened during that week. Unfortunately, none of it ever happened. I was in full encephalopathy and I was hallucinating. So I was in my own world. I was in the hospital, I remember, and I was doing things like just repeating words that people were saying and then spelling them to try to prove to myself that I was still mentally with it. I was scared. It's like I felt like I was over here. My body wasn't working. I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't really speak. And I was just completely helpless. So I was in critical care for about a week. And the doctors and the nurses at that time thought I was just simply detoxing from alcohol, which was true. But my body was shutting down. I became bloated. I was huge amounts of fluid retention just during that first week. And my gastroenterologist, your digestive physician, who was rounding, told Carrie, essentially, I don't have to tell you how sick he is. I was basically given a less than 10% chance, give or take, of seeing the new year. And remember, this was in November. And I had less than a 20% chance of living 90 days past that. We were literally at death's door, and for the next 5 or 6 weeks, I was in and out of critical care, usually for 4 or 5 day stays throughout the end of the year. I spent Thanksgiving, my birthday, Christmas, New Year's, all of that, I was in critical care. And when we found out what was happening, we thought it was a death sentence. So after one of my hospital stays, we went directly to an attorney's office and set up my will and my medical directives and all of that, because we really thought that we just had weeks. And that whole time was just terrifying. A lot of people had reached out to us, but I began to just go into seclusion. I didn't know what to do. I was sure I was going to die. I was certain that I was going to die. And at that point, I even became suicidal because I did not want to live like that. And the best case scenario options that were given to me at the time were just not something that I was willing to live with or accept. So there was a very, very hard time, very trying time for Carrie and I trying to figure that out. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of nights in the hospital, visitors, drama that was going on. I mean, it just didn't seem like it was going to end. So that took us through probably mid-January is when I stopped regularly being admitted to the hospital. And we were just trying to start piecing together, and at that time, setting up for me to die, essentially. So that's where I'm going to stop for today as far as my initial diagnosis. In upcoming videos, I'll talk more about what happened in the weeks immediately following my final hospital discharge, and some of the other things that we came to learn and find out about this, about liver disease, and about the process that needs to be taken for transplants and for insurance and for financial. So just the whole world of things that we did not know even needed to be addressed, and we had to find them out the hard way. So I hope that I can help share my knowledge that I've learned through this time, and as I continue to learn, I look forward to hearing from anyone. If anyone has any comments, in the description section below, I've also added a link to my Facebook group page for liver disease and cirrhosis support. No judgment, just a place for people and their family members to go to gather some information as I learn it. So thank you very much, and I hope all of you have a great day. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me, and have a great weekend.